Hi guys, so today I thought I'd do a quick shirt transformation to make this cute shirt that you could layer in the winter with a long sleeve top and tights, or wear in the summer. I managed to get a shirt that was pretty long, so it's like a full length dress on me. So the only thing you'll need is a large men's shirt. I managed to find a pretty long one, so it was full length on me, but choose whichever one you want. I then used a dress that I liked the shape of, that was kind of A-line, to pin out the shape on the shirt. And then, so I just used pins to trace this round using the shape of the dress. So then I pinned a armhole shape. It doesn't have to be super accurate, I just kind of guessed where I wanted it to be because I'm going to try it on later and then adjust it to how it needs to be. Of course you can use another dress to trace out an armhole, but I decided to freehand it. I then just used scissors to cut about an inch away from the pins all the way around the shirt. After trying it on, I drew on where I wanted the armhole to finish because it wasn't quite equal on both sides. I then just took it off again and adjusted where it needed to be adjusted. I then sewed up the sides of the shirt. I used an overlocker, but you can just use a straight stitch, whatever you like. I then measured how long I wanted the ruffle on the sleeve to be. And then I cut the sleeve open and I saved the cuff for a later project if I wanted it. So I just cut all the seams open so the sleeve lay flat. I then used a ruler to cut on the bias to create two bias strips that are going to go around the armhole once we've added the ruffle on, just to finish it with a nice clean edge. So I made both of them 2 inches wide. I then used the remainder of the sleeve to cut out the ruffle, and I actually used my French seam ruler because it has a curve that I can use that will create the kind of flowy style of the ruffle rather than using a gather. So I knew I wanted the ruffle to be 17 centimetres, 17 inches rather. So I counted round the ruler 17 inches and then made the ruffle 2.5 inches wide. I then drew on the ruffle and kind of tapered it towards the end so there wasn't a straight edge, and traced round the ruler to kind of create this swirl shape, which I then cut out, and this will be one of the sleeve ruffles. So as you can see, when you stretch it out, it kind of has that fluted, ruffly effect. I then cut open the second sleeve and used the same technique to create another ruffle. This is what they both look like. And then I used the ruler again to measure the middle of the ruffle so I knew where to attach it on the armhole of the shirt. So then, finding the top seam, shoulder seam of the shirt, I pinned all the way along the armhole to attach the ruffle to the sleeve, and then I used a straight stitch to attach the ruffle to the armhole. Just make sure when you are pinning or clipping like I am that you get the curve to be as straight as possible, if that makes sense, on the armhole. So towards the end you might have to hold it with your finger while you guide it through the sewing machine to make sure that it all lays flat. So this is what it should look like, and then we're actually going to take the bias strip that we cut out earlier and pin this again along the seam, but this time we're going to go all the way around the armhole rather than just the part where the ruffle is. So once you've attached the bias binding, it should look like this. So you'll have the binding and then the ruffle and then the shirt all attached like this. Then you're going to take the binding and fold it in half up to the stitch line of the seam, and then you're going to fold it again around the seam allowance to kind of create your own homemade bias binding. And then you're going to stitch really close to the seam you already have, or you can stitch in the ditch, whichever you prefer. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin all the way around the bias binding, folding it in half twice around the seam allowance. So once that is done and you've sewn the binding closed, it should look like this. You should just have a really clean binding edge with the ruffle attached to the shirt. So that's the end of the tutorial. I really hope you like it. It was super simple, but I just thought it was a cute thing that you could wear with any season really. I think I'm going to wear it with a long sleeve top and tights and little booties for the winter now. I think it'll be a really good transition piece as you can layer it. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, remember to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. And if you want to see any more videos related to sewing, then just subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye!